Hey guys, so today I'm going to do a video on how each state trended in the past election cycles. I used all the presidential elections from 2000 until 2016, then looked on how they voted in relation to the popular vote in total, and then looked how they swung every election cycle, whether they trended more towards the Democrats or whether they trended more towards the Republicans. And it's quite an interesting result. So I have used the four different columns here in the YAPMS, I know how it's pronounced, in this electoral map. So basically safe, likely, lean, and tilt to indicate how strongly the respective states trended towards either party. So the safe states trended by more than 5 points towards one party, the likely states 3 to 5 points, the lean states 1 to 3 points, and the tilt states 0 to 1 point. So firstly, let's look on the states which trended heavily towards Republicans. Iowa and Ohio belong to that group. Maine at large belongs to that group. And Maine's second congressional district, Missouri, former swing state. Then we also have Nebraska's third congressional district belonging to that group. We have North Dakota, which was a swing state back in 2008. We have Rhode Island, which swung especially hard in the last election, 2016. We have South Dakota and West Virginia. Then the hard swing towards the Democrats only occurred in two states, in California and in Utah. In Utah, you'll have to consider that there was a hard swing because of the third-party factor in 2016 with Evan McMullin. But in comparison to the popular vote, Utah has actually really trended towards Democrats. It will not be a Democratic state in the next election or be competitive to some degree, but still it's an interesting trend. Now the states which have swung between 3 up to 5 points towards Republicans are Arkansas, Indiana, Kentucky, neighboring state, also Tennessee, Michigan, Montana, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Wyoming. So basically, especially the Rust Belt and Midwestern states, also some of the former Solid South, we saw that especially in the 2016 election, those states flipped towards Donald Trump. Montana also got considerably more Republican. In 2008, it was a close state decided by 3 points in favor of John McCain, and in 2016, it was decided it went to Donald Trump by 20 points. So also interesting. Same with Indiana, went to Barack Obama actually, and now in 2016 went in favor of Donald Trump by the same number, by 20 points, although Mike Pence will have played a role in that. For the Democrats, there are not as many states, but some with important electoral value. We have Arkansas, we have Texas actually, we have Arizona, and we have Nebraska's second congressional district. And especially Texas, Arizona are very interesting. Those will be states which will be contested in the 2020 elections. Even more in 2024 likely. Arizona has elected a Democratic senator in 2018. Texas swung hard towards the Democrats in the last elections. Alaska is a somewhat weird state. You also have to factor in that in 2008, Sarah Palin, the then governor of Alaska, ran on the ticket with John McCain. And Nebraska's second congressional district is somewhat distinct from those three states because congressional districts, they go through redistricting every cycle. So that means that when in 2020 redistricting is up again, that the borders of this district might change. So in 2010 they also changed, so it's still quite an object which we have to take with a grain of salt because we don't know how the borders of that district will look in the future. Now let's look at those states which trended between 1 and 3 points towards the Republicans in the cycle since 2000. As said, this is a weight margin, not like the same value for every year. Like how the state trend between 2000 and 2004 is not as important as how they trended between 2012 and 2016. Then we have Alabama, we have Connecticut, we have Delaware, we have Hawaii, we have Louisiana, we have Maine's 1st Congressional District, heavily Democratic, we have Minnesota, we have Mississippi, we have Nebraska at large and Nebraska's 1st Congressional District, we have New Hampshire, New York, Vermont, and Oklahoma. Let's look at the Democratic side. Then we have states like Colorado and New Mexico. We have the District of Columbia. We have Georgia and North Carolina. We have Massachusetts, Virginia, and Washington. And you might see a pattern like Colorado and New Mexico were former swing states, and they all trended Democratic in the recent years. So in 2016, for instance, New Mexico was barely contested, Virginia was not that much contested, Colorado was not that much contested. I forgot Maryland actually belongs also to that group. So especially here the Sun Belt states, Georgia and North Carolina are interesting, especially electorally. Georgia has been a Republican stronghold for around about 30 years now, has been won by almost every Republican since Jimmy Carter. Only Bill Clinton carried it once. And Virginia went Democratic for the first time in 2008 when it went to Barack Obama. And now let's look at the states which hardly trended. To those states belongs Florida, narrowly Republican, Nevada, interesting actually. Here that can be explained by that in 2008 it swung very extremely towards the Democrats, and then it kind of took moderate hits towards Republicans again, especially in relation to the popular vote. And as my weight trends take the more recent shifts more into account than the trends between 2004 and 2008, it makes Nevada a tilt Republican state. And surprisingly, we have South Carolina. And on the Democratic side, we have the remaining states. So we have Oregon, Idaho, Kansas, Illinois, and New Jersey. So that's how the states trended between 2000 and 2016. The trends of the recent years can give an indication how the states will vote in the future and what electoral role they will play. For instance, like we can see Iowa and Ohio, they trend extremely towards Republicans. They will not play a major role in the 2020 cycle, only a minor role. And I believe that in the next decade that those states will not be contested at all, just as Missouri, while North Carolina, Georgia, Texas, Arizona have gained importance, but also Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. For the 2020s, it can be said that especially Maine will be interesting due to its trend towards Republicans, and Rhode Island. It will lose one congressional district and hence one electoral vote after the census 2020, according to all projections so far. And its electorate is quite small, so swinging this state or flipping this state could be possible for Republicans. So yeah, this is how all the states have trended since 2000. I hope you enjoyed my video and see you next time.